Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we're going to be talking about these new deluxe commander kits. I apologize if you can hear my son's program in the background. These deluxe commander kits for a March of the Machine are going to be showing up in Costco stores within the US and Canada. And honestly, they are absolutely bonkers. Even if you just look at the potentially worst decks within these sets, these are really, really great. So what exactly are they? Essentially, they are a bundle. They've kind of taken stuff that they had, or, I don't know if they've reprinted them or they just were stuff that was already printed and they've kind of bundled it together. But we've got the March of the Machine Commander deck. And then we've got a Bloomburrow Play Booster, the Commander Masters Set Booster, a March of the Machine Set Booster, and then we've got two special promos. The two special promos are a Jace Memory Adapt and a Ajani Mentor of Heroes. If you have a look at the Commander deck prices themselves, so this is off of Card Kingdom at the moment. The Cavalry Charge alone is $100. The cheapest one here is the Tinker Time one, which is $35. But then when you add in the Commander Masters booster pack, that's already above the $50 here. It is pretty crazy, these deals by themselves, even if you're just completely looking for value from just the boosters. The boosters alone are pretty much worth it. Personally though, I think that I would probably skip out on the Tinker Time one, but let's have a look at the actual decks. That way we're going to very quickly cover these, just so that way you guys are aware of them. So the Cavalry Charge one here, this is based around Knights. It is very much Knight Tribal and a kind of side discard theme as well. It's also the only one that's had a commander with eminence since the 2017 Precons, I think it is. And this is the one that most people are after, right? It's got some great stuff. The Commander Sidar Jabari is really great. When you get into having a look at the Knights as well, it's got some nice Knights in here. Adeline is useful in so many different token decks, as well as just being great in this deck. Herald of Hoofbeats allows it so that way all your Knights have horsemanship, so you can't be blocked essentially. Hero of Bladehold makes 2/1/1 white soldiers each time you attack with it. Really great. Overall this deck, and it's got Sir Conrad as well. Sir Conrad's a knight. So you've got a lot of really great stuff in here. And then you've got Chivalric Alliance in here. Whenever you attack with two or more creatures, draw a card. That's just so useful in a whole bunch of different decks. Obviously the meta base is going to need some touch-ups and stuff. And there's a lot of different ways that you can upgrade this deck. But if you can find this Cavalry Charge bundle, that's even the Precon alone is worth twice as much as this bundle's going for. All right, we've got the Growing Threat one, which is the opposite end of the spectrum almost. This is really weird. So it starts out as looking at the commander here, a Phyrexian kind of tribal with artifacts as a side one, and it ends up going more into the artifacts. Now there is some good stuff in here, the Bitterthorn and Nissa's Animus is really great, but it's just kind of very much just kind of weird, Phyrexians, but also artifact creature kind of set. The Phyrexians alone don't work all that great together, unfortunately, but overall, it's a way that you could potentially make a Orzoth artifact deck, and it would not be too bad, right? There's a lot of ways that you can obviously work on upgrading this and stuff, especially if you go more into the artifact side of things rather than relying on the Phyrexians that aren't all that great together. But overall, it's not the best of them, but it's also not the worst. All right, the next one here is the Divine Convocation one. We've actually made a video on this very recently, so seeing it be so discounted and such a great bundle is yeah, I'm really happy with this. So this one here is based around Convoke, but it's not just Convoke. It's like Convoke is the main theme and how do you kind of use your commander and stuff. But then also it is built around like little creatures, so tiny creatures and stuff. So you've got like Skull Clamp in here. You've got like a whole bunch of ways to make small creatures or take advantage of small creatures. So like Nadir, Kraken, you've got Suture, Priesty to gain life whenever stuff enters, Chasm, Golka here. Wildfire Awakener is another one that is a huge card at the moment. Especially with like, you know, Balin decks and stuff. But the Nesting Dovehawk, that's like the king of like nearly every single one of these. Just whenever a creature token enters, put a +1/+1 onto it. And at the beginning of combat, you get to populate. It is insane. I have like 3-4 different decks that want one of these at the moment, just because of all the decks I play. And then, you know, you've got like some really nice side enchantments and stuff to kind of work alongside it too. Overall, you know, this is probably the second best one. Cavalry Charge obviously being the best and the most worth it. And then, you know, getting down to probably the worst one, the Tinker Time one. So this one here is based around different tokens. So you get to create a goblin artifact creator, a creature, and then where X is the number of differently named artifact tokens you control. Now, it doesn't have all that many. Like if we go down to the bottom here, it'll show you like the different tokens. It doesn't have all that many artifact tokens. So you've got blood, clue, feather, food, gold, treasure, thopters, the same thopter, and then replicator ring, and servo and gremlin, and golem. So, you know, you've got a few different ones, but it doesn't kind of lean into any of them very hard. It's also got like, because it's got so many of them, they also only really have like one card each kind of thing. So therefore it's kind of harder to get them out instead of it being like, you know, 3 different cards for one of them and 3 different cards for the next and stuff. So like you're relying on potentially trying to get one card out from your deck to be able to start making, say, those golems, but you can't like reliably get that out, so you can't reliably have count on that for your commander. Now, there is lots of ways that you could potentially upgrade this to be very interesting, and it's probably still potentially worth it when you combine it with the fact that there's like, you know, the play boosters are really nice and set boosters and stuff, and basically, you know, even like the promos are nice. It's not kind of like an ideal one, but if you do find it, I'd still potentially pick it up. But also, I'm in Australia and we don't get access to these, unfortunately. I would love, if I could get the Cavalry Charge deck, this is probably like my dream Precon that I would love to get, but it's just impossible to find here. All right. Now, the last one here is the Call for Backup one, this is probably actually my favorite one, and I would say the second. No, I don't know. It's kind of a hard between the Call for Backup and Divine Convocation. Call for Backup is really great. It's just more spread out in how kind of great it is rather than Divine Convocation, which is like relying on 2 different cards. So Strionic Resonator, really, really great, and a whole bunch of different uses for it. Gear Sage is really great. We've got like, you know, Incubation Druid is not bad either. You know, it's built around +1/+1s, and it's got a lot of kind of really great stuff for +1/+1 decks. I've actually taken this deck and then I've turned it into my Aragorn Hornburg hero. Aragorn Hornburg hero. This one here. Because he like doubles all the +1/+1s when around now on creature attacks and stuff. And there was just a lot of great stuff within this. Uncivil Unrest is really great. Flame Shadow Conjuring is really great for like a cloning deck, or I can't remember where I think I actually put this into Bellow. I think I put this into Bellow most recently because I could technically use it for when the enchantments came in to be able to clone them, because when they come in, they're creatures. Uncivil Unrest is just so good. That's in my Voja deck, which technically it could have stayed in this deck, my Aragorn deck, but I moved it into Voja because I just wanted it in Voja. And the land base isn't awful in it. It's not great, but it's not awful. Overall, it's just kind of really interesting and a really great kind of +1/+1. It doesn't lean too much into the backup aspect of it because backup isn't a hugely kind of big theme that people could have used with, or at least with the Precon they couldn't, but overall for a +1/+1 deck it's great. So if I'm kind of ranking them, I definitely think Cavalry Charge is up there as the top, and then for the second I will probably say a draw between like Divine Convocation and Call for Backup. In terms of value for what you're getting, Call for Backup's probably better, but like Divine Convocation has stuff that I want more personally. But honestly, both have stuff that you will want for different decks. And then Growing Threat probably like 3rd/4th, and then Tinker Time being the worst one, but you could still make use of it is the thing. Like you can still find uses for it. The actual other thing that I didn't really check was how much these Jace, like the Jace is worth and stuff like that. So if I'm going to quickly kind of look that up, if we look up this on Card Kingdom, currently that Jace is like $4.79 for like the cheapest version of it, not being a promo. That's not too bad either. And then we've got the Ajani as well. So, that's like a $6 card. Like, these, like, even the promos are great. Like, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that we couldn't get these here in Australia. If anyone is in the States and wants to send it over to me, feel free. I can give you my address so you can send it over. But overall, great, very worth getting. I hope you guys had a great day, and goodbye.